Hello and welcome to Harmony in the Hustle. We've got such a beautiful guest today that I'm so excited to have on here. And she's one of my friends that I've known for a little while now, and she's all the way from Nashville. So her name is her name is Tonya Stout. She's a powerhouse speaker, master messaging strategist, a professional songwriter whose words have been recorded by Grammy Award-winning artists in the heart of Music City, Nashville, Tennessee. And Tonya is known for turning ordinary ideas into extraordinary business outcomes with her God-given gift for communication. She is the co-founder of Conquerpreneur, the Conquer Club podcast, and the Conquer Club community, where she and her husband, Kevin, lead a bold movement to help high-impact entrepreneurs conquer their life, business, faith, family, and financial future. Their proven hit message formula framework is helping entrepreneurs craft compelling premium offers, communicate with confidence, and cash flow their calling on stages, in boardrooms, and in sales. So get ready to be equipped, inspired, and empowered by a woman who doesn't just speak to inform, but speaks to ignite purpose, profit, and faith-driven impact. Welcome, my friend Tonya. It's so lovely to have you on Harmony in the Hustle, all the way from Nashville, Tennessee. Welcome.
Yay. Thank you, Angela. It's so good to be here and just be honestly just hanging out with a friend,
Yeah, absolutely. I know. I'll give the audience some context. So you and I met a year ago, maybe over a year ago now, in Houston.
Yes.
And we were at a mastermind together, and I met you and your husband, Kevin. And we've just become friends ever since. And a lot of the people in the community, we all, stay connected. And we've all been watching each other build our businesses as entrepreneurs and, just supporting each other and having each other's back. So, and I've been wanting to interview you on here because you're such a powerhouse woman and you've done so many incredible things. But the first question I wanted to ask you today, which I've been so intrigued about, because I remember when you first told me that you were a songwriter and a singer, because I said straight away, do you sing, and you said, yes, I've been a singer and I do songwriting. So I guess my first question to you is, where did you start with all of this? Like, you were a professional singer and you also became a songwriter, but not only that, you were telling me that some people have actually taken your lyrics and you've written for Grammy Award-winning artists. I don't know who they are, but I don't know if you will spill the tea and let us know who they are. But let's start there. Talk to me about where you were right in the beginning as a singer and a songwriter and how that all came about.
Well, thank you for that introduction and this question. That's a great question because you think, where did this all start? And honestly, when I was 9 years old, I knew. How many of you know what you want to do when you're that young? I did. I knew I would live in Nashville. I grew up in the Midwest here in the States, and I just knew that I was always a word girl. And
Yeah.
honestly, I didn't know until my 20s that I could actually make money by writing songs for artists. I used to think that artists were the ones who wrote them and sang them. And so I moved to Nashville 25 years ago and just to pursue that passion and wrote with, while my kids were babies, I would write 2 times a day with different artists, different upcoming artists that you didn't know who was going to be a hit or not. But I loved doing that process of taking I always say like a 3-hour movie in your brain and condensing it down to 3 minutes. But so, yeah, I did that for several years here in Nashville. And a couple, I don't even know if you'd recognize them because it's been a minute since they've been on the radio, if you will. But there was a country duo named Joey and Rory. Joey actually passed away, but I had a song on one of their albums. And then there's a Grammy Award-winning artist named Billy Dean. He was huge in the 90s, shows you my age, but he also recorded one of my songs that I co-wrote. So, and I have several independent artists who have recorded songs that I were a part of writing the music and the lyrics. So it's, as a songwriter for me, I'm not only was I doing the lyrics, but also playing the guitar and playing at the Bluebird and all of those things. And it's a little bit of my past, but really that's what melted into what I'm doing right now as a messaging strategist for entrepreneurs. So
yeah,
that's how it started.
beautiful. It's all a transition, isn't it? And
It
we'll
is.
get into all of that, how you transition into your new career now. But who is your favorite country music artist? Is it like I think straight away when I think Dolly Parton, like I don't
It
know,
is.
is
A
it?
zillion. You nailed it. Yeah.
Oh, wow. I was
Dolly
just the
Parton.
question I thought straight away. I thought, I bet it's Dolly Parton because I
It
think
is.
about when I think about songwriting, she was such a fabulous
Mm,
songwriter and she wrote for so many other people as well and obviously built a
yeah.
big career and a big business out of just, writing beautiful lyrics and
Yeah.
selling them.
She's brilliant. I mean, a brilliant
Yeah, she
songwriter.
is.
I love the heart of what she puts out there. And she's a businesswoman.
She
I
sure
mean,
is.
talk about
Yeah.
strategy.
Yeah.
So she's always been my favorite. And in
Have you
fact,
met her?
you know what? I have not met her. I've been in the same circles and I've seen her, but I
Yeah.
haven't officially met her. There's a lot of people, living in Nashville, you see people all the time and people are so respectful. You really just don't go
Yeah.
up to them. They could be right next to you at the restaurant and you don't bother them. But if I saw Dolly, I probably
Yeah.
would go up to
I
her.
think so. You'd have to
Yeah.
say, "Darling, can I please get a photo? Can I
Yeah.
please get your autograph?"
A
Something, you know?
zillion,
Yeah.
zillion percent.
Yeah, yeah. So, do you see on the odd occasion Nicole or Keith walking around or Reese Witherspoon? I know they all live in Nashville. Do you see them
I
at
have
all?
seen Nicole, I have seen Keith, and I've never seen Reese. I've been into her
Okay.
store, but I haven't seen her.
Oh, she has a store. I didn't know
Yes,
she had a store.
you have to
That seems
come to
really
Nashville.
Yes, we are definitely going to come, and I've mentioned before that my husband has
I
been singing Johnny Cash for a long, long time, and
Can
he's
I
been
just
a
tell
Johnny
you?
Cash fan, and his
Okay,
goal is to get to Nashville. I can't even believe we haven't been there, but we're
I can't
coming.
I can't believe you haven't been there, and I just have to say this. My
Yeah.
very first concert I ever went to was Johnny Cash.
No way, was it? Wow.
I
Yeah.
was country
That's
before
so
it was
cool.
cool.
Yeah, yeah.
It
No, we
really was.
definitely yeah, we definitely have to get over there, and I know that he wants to go and sing a few Johnny Cash songs, and I think there's
Yeah,
like a Johnny Cash, like, memorial, like, place or
museum.
a, like, museum, yeah. So we'll definitely be going to that, so
Yeah,
that's so cool.
I'll
Well,
have
there
to
you
hear
go.
your
That's
hubby's
that
list.
yeah, for sure. Well, that's our connection with Nashville. We'll definitely be heading over there at some point. So I guess the next question I wanted to ask you is how did you go from being a songwriter and, being somebody that was a singer yourself and a musician, and then you've gone into being an entrepreneur. You guys went into your own business. I know your lovely husband Kevin, and you have the Conquer Club, and you also have a Conquerpreneur. Could you talk to me a little bit about, explain a little bit about what that is and how you guys help and serve people?
Sure. I mean, those are great questions, Angela. And you always, how many of you just listening think, how did I get here?
I
But much like you, Angela, I have reinvented just new seasons in my life.
Yeah,
And it's been, some people are like, isn't that so sad? I'm like, no, because I always say God uses everything from your past to prepare
absolutely.
you and position you for what you're doing now. So I've always been an entrepreneurial spirit. I mean, literally, since my husband and I have been married for 31 years. And I remember when we first had our first baby, I was like, what could I do to bring in an income? And I created business cards and started a tutoring company. So entrepreneur is something I think I've always been a creative entrepreneur. And I
Yeah.
think that's just when you're creative, you figure out how can I generate an income and also impact. It's kind of always been
Mm,
that ebb and flow of those two things. And
mm,
so entrepreneurship, even in my songwriting, I owned my own publishing company. And that basically just means I got the publishing rights and money that I made, as well as the songwriters. That can get a little complicated, but all of that to say, so I did my music all these years and loved it. The business changed a lot because of downloads and what you used to be
yeah,
able to make in royalties selling albums, that didn't exist anymore. And the market started changing. And I don't know, there was just a time where I was fine to write or not write. And then about 6 years ago, I was diagnosed with cancer and walked through a very almost a 2 year, 18-month healing journey. And
wow.
when you've been given as I say, the death sentence, you really just take a peek at everything. And I always knew there was something more. How many of
Yeah.
you realize like there's something more in you? And
Mm.
so when I came out of that, I had an interior design business that was incredible. It was actually very successful, just organically was going very well. But honestly, I was burnt out. I
Mhm.
call it stressful. I was tired,
Yeah. Yeah.
Angela.
Yeah.
And
Know that
and
feeling?
then yeah, you know that feeling. I know
Yeah.
you've done a lot of those things. So all of that to say, I transitioned out of that and accidentally, truthfully, came across this a consultant, online consultant coaching, just like you are, who
Yep.
you are, and it changed everything. I was like, this is it. So Kevin and I immersed ourselves into learning this skill, really just learning what it's all about, but applying the skills we already know into it.
Yes.
So that's how I'm here with you today. It's been
That's
such a joy.
amazing. Yeah, and you talk. Look, the transition part of it all is so important because I think that we all transition, we all reinvent, we all evolve. I mean, a lot of people think that you have to stay in the same career for a certain part of majority of your life, and then there's certain things that will happen in your life. Even like I actually did not know that you had cancer, so that is in itself is such a big thing and a big transition that you go through. And I'm
Mm.
sure you can only imagine the sort of things that you were thinking about and the changes that you would have to make in your life. And you figure
Oh,
out what are the most important things, what are the things that matter to me, and what are the things I don't want to do anymore, I'm going to let go of to be able to, step into this next chapter and be
yeah.
something that, it gives me more joy, more purpose, more meaning. Because I think when you're confronted with something like that, no doubt gives you this strength to think that I'm going to do things differently. If I'm not happy, I'm going to make some big changes in my life and some big steps and big shifts that,
Yeah.
would obviously bring things into your life that would bring you more joy. So talk to me a little bit
Yeah.
about that. How was that for you when you were going through that? Were you thinking along the lines of that really is a big transition that I want to make sure that I'm, doing things that bring me more joy, more happiness, more,
Yeah.
contentment?
Yeah, well, you know how when you are in whatever season you are, honestly, I was happy. I was doing my life, doing everything
Yeah.
felt good. We had gone
Mm,
through a really tough time. We had some financial struggles before that, and we had just walked through some really a stressful season of our lives. And
mm,
then diagnosed with cancer, and I had to have I actually flew everywhere. I got four opinions and had to have 16 rounds of chemo. And but even with that, honestly, Angela, I knew that I was going to be okay. I knew that I was
yeah,
healed, but I had to walk it out. And it was
of
18
course.
months of really hard. I remember just one day literally crawling out of the bathtub.
Yeah.
I couldn't even lift my eyelashes. And I just you're not thinking about your future, you're just thinking about your present. And I just
Mm,
remember when I came out of that and my business started really doing amazing, but in the middle of that, I still was able to do some things with my interior design business. But after all of that, it was like I just wanted to make more impact, and I knew that there was a higher calling for me. And most people,
mm,
like you said, think I got to be here for 30 years or I'm climbing the ladder of success. And then their kids
mm,
are all grown, or they're
mm.
at the top of that ladder and they look down and they don't like the view. And so I was
Yeah.
already happy and obviously not completely fulfilled, if you will. I just knew there was more and just prayed, like, what next? And then
Yeah.
we were introduced to an online consultant, and didn't even really understand what any of it. And to be honest, I thought I'm 50. Like what? I'm going to be on screen of an internet. What? But I had to get myself out of the way, Angela, because it's not
Yeah.
about me. It's all the people praying for solutions that you and I have.
Yeah.
And when you get yourself out of the way, that's when all the magic happens. It's like, this isn't even about me. This is about all the people
No.
who need what I have to
Exactly.
offer what
Yeah.
you have, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Oh, beautifully said, because you're absolutely right. That whole, even going through what you've been through, the strength that that's given you, and the how much you can share about that. Because
ah,
there's so many women going through breast cancer and different types of cancers. And, if you're, you've got so much to offer and to help and serve people. And you mentioned being 50, it's so interesting you say that, because women who do turn, 50 and they think to themselves, okay, this is it. Like I'm kind of like at this point now. But I always say it's not about slowing down in your 50s. It's about speeding up. It's about figuring out what you want to do next. And, it's almost like this is your call to action now because you go through all your challenges, your obstacles and your financial struggles and
Oh,
paying the mortgages and the kids and all the dramas and the health issues and all of that. And then you get to this point, it's like, well, what's next? Like you're in this beautiful position where you can take all of your expertise, all of your life lessons and bring them
yes.
all to the table. And
Oh,
in that little package that you have there is so much wisdom. And once you sort of break it out and you work out exactly how that can help people and you can serve people and you can build a business from that, boom, it all starts to evolve from there. So yeah, the more I hear it now, women in their late 40s, 50s and 60s are
mm,
figuring out their next chapter and understanding that they have more impact and
yeah.
that they can make a big difference in other people's lives as well from all of the wisdom and expertise that they
Oh,
have.
it's so beautiful, really, because I
Yeah,
feel like I'm just getting started. My
that's how
husband does
I
too.
feel.
We're like, we
Yeah,
are, I feel young, I feel vibrant, I feel
yeah,
all of those things. And yes, all the wisdom, like the way I like to say it, Angela, is do you have a pie in the sky dream? And the
yeah.
P, the I, and the E are your past.
Mhm.
What's gone before you. Your I is your interest, and then your
Yep.
E is your experiences. You can take that pie in the sky and serve somebody else a piece of it. And that's what's
Great
so
analogy.
beautiful.
Yeah.
And so that's how to go back to your question, that's how I had an idea. I was in a mastermind. I joined these masterminds. Listen, I invested in myself. Kevin and I invested in ourselves, just like you
Mm,
have, Angela. That's how we met.
mm,
And
mm,
we invested into high premium ticket offers, premium,
mm,
because we're premium people and we want to absorb and serve others at a premium level. And
mm.
so we invested in ourselves. I always say it's just like a franchise. You're investing in somebody else's dream.
Yeah,
Invest in
absolutely.
yourself,
Invest in
and use
yourself.
that pie. And there's so much. And so that's how at a master class, I'm sorry, a mastermind, I had the idea of Conquerpreneur. I immediately trademarked it. And
Yeah,
that was 3 years ago. I didn't know what I was going to do with it, but I knew it felt right.
yeah. I
And
love that
so
name. It's very clever.
thank
I saw
you.
that it was trademarked as well. Well done.
Yeah. Thank you.
Very
Yeah. I
important for
tried.
entrepreneurs if you come up with a great idea is to get that trademark.
Yeah, like they say, do it fast, do it now. I knew it was a good idea. I knew it was a God idea. I didn't even try for it. It just like
Yeah,
landed. So I
same.
trademarked it. Didn't know what I would do with it. Yeah, I think that
Mhm.
as entrepreneurs, it's just like, I don't know what's going to happen with that. We just
Mm.
say yes, and then we keep going. And that started the company, the overarching brand, and then just kept saying yes, created this consulting business. And then, sorry about the dogs, you probably hear them
Oh, that's
barking.
all right.
And welcome to
I've got a dog
doing
too. It's all good.
working at home.
Yeah,
So then we started the Conquer Club podcast and just really helping people. Honestly, a lot of people like you, Angela, we're just in our 2.0s. A lot of
yeah,
people we know, they're just pivoting into new seasons, new experiences, and we love it. I mean,
yeah.
it's
It's a
amazing.
very exciting time of
Ah,
our lives
it
because we're
is.
free. We're free to be able to figure it out and say, this is what I want to do next, and take the time to actually think, what is it that, brings me joy? What is it that I'm passionate about? What is it that I
Yeah,
can do to serve people? And no, I love that. And I think you and Kevin do that so well. And your podcast is doing very, very well because you're interviewing so many great people and you're doing, incredible things. And yeah, you're obviously loving everything that you're doing on the podcast too, because you can see that
yeah,
you two work so well together. You bounce off each other, and it's really lovely to watch. It's not just the fact that you're out there on your own building this business and being an
yeah.
entrepreneur. You're building this with your husband too. So it's great to see that partnership there for both of you.
Yeah, thank you. It's his. I know it's rare, and
Yeah, it is.
he's still doing his own. He runs a company, or
Mm-hmm.
co-partners in running a company. But and we just decided to melt both of our skills together. He knows how to
Mm-hmm.
scale, but I have that messaging hit message thing
Mm-hmm.
down with with your words. And there's two things that I wanted to say, Angela. Maybe you've heard this quote. It's by Kathy Lee Gifford. She says, if you have a pulse, you have a purpose. And
Yeah.
so I think so many people they retire and then they expire,
Yep.
but they have a whole
Great
second
quote.
half,
Yeah.
their second act.
Yeah.
And they don't know what to do, but there's
Yeah.
so many people for them to serve, for us to serve, for that.
Mm.
We're just a different kind of
Mm.
age, if you will.
Mm.
Somebody said that the Golden Girls, I don't know if you remember that show, but the
Yeah, I
Golden
remember
Girls,
the show.
they were like in their 30s or something. And I was like, what? They look like they were 70.
Yeah, they
But
made
we're
them have
just,
gray hair and they set their hair rollers
yeah,
and
yeah, it's crazy. But
yeah.
that, and then there is one line in a song that Rascal Flatts, actually a friend of mine is a co-writer on it, but it says, don't leave the stage in the middle of a song. And so
Beautiful.
I think
Yeah.
that we're just, you're in your 50s, you're in the middle of the song.
You're in the middle. We're in the
Like,
middle. The
don't leave
second
that
act.
stage.
Yeah.
Don't leave the stage in the middle of the song. That song, your instrument, we always say, it's your voice and you
Yeah.
have to use it
Yes.
until you can't. So that's how all of that has transpired.
Yeah. And your hit message that you talk about. So you help people create their hit message. And I think that obviously if you talk about your experience of being such a great communicator and being a good writer, and you could really think about a whole story and bring it down to 3 minutes. And then so you're helping people now work out their absolute hit message and getting very clear on that. Because I think one of the other things is, I think in this time of pivoting in a career or changing something, it doesn't come to you straight away. And that's why I say to women in my program, be patient. Like, it might take a little while to figure it out. And, think about what your strengths are. Look at people that, you're inspired by, that are doing things that you are interested in. And then that might start to help you give the message. And then I think that if you can help people get clarity on that message, that is where the confidence comes. Because clarity, it's like, if you don't have the clarity on everything, you're just all over the place. But the clarity is the key. But the
Oh,
clarity may take a bit of time to come. So do you find that with as an entrepreneur, and you're dealing with, people in your business, it just takes that bit of time to create that clarity, to get that message very, very clear? Because once you can cut through and your voice is heard, because there's a lot of voices out there, it's the key to everything, isn't it? And
oh,
where you started 6 months ago can be completely different to we know that ourselves as entrepreneurs.
mhm.
Things change, and what you thought was on the right track 6 months ago completely changes. A year
Yeah.
later, you're doing something. It's evolved into something new, and that's just part of the journey. That's just part of the whole entrepreneurial journey. So yeah, I'm intrigued to find out how you are with, helping people, get clarity on this hit message, because I think you'd be someone that'd be able to really suck out this message for people, to help them, become a lot more clearer on that.
Yeah. Yes, that's such a good question, Angela, because here's how many of you, I say this because this has been me, where you're just kind of, they call it the shiny object. Like, I'm going to try that, or you change your offer, you do all these things. I got to get the
Yeah.
funnel and da, 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 da. And the truth is, it's your messaging. It's the
Mm,
clarity in the messaging. And
mm,
when we would write songs years ago, we would say, okay, let's just write it. We got to
yeah.
put it out, type it, write it down, the
Mhm,
song. And then we would say, we got to cut the fat now. And so we
mm.
would cut all those extra words, all the stuff that wasn't telling the story, but we
Yeah.
had to get it out first. And so,
Yes.
just like in business messaging, you got to put it all out there and then you cut the fat.
Mm.
And I don't know if you've ever heard this, but you sell the sizzle, not the steak.
Yes.
It's
Heard
the
that before.
sizzle, right?
Yes.
It's that spice.
Yes.
That is what you're selling. And so, because of my history in that space, I was able to take that, extract it. And it took a minute for me to even know it's
Mm,
really your unbecoming what
mm,
all has gotten on you. And
mm.
it's like the Michelangelo, all the sculpture was in there all along. And it
Yes.
just is part of the process to get to the actual picture, the actual sculpture of who you already are.
Mm.
And so I've created, yes, a hit message masterclass that we have. And also I've created this AI avatar that she is called Melody, the hit message maker, where
Oh, I love
clients
it.
can put their information in this whole AI world. You don't even have to know how to use AI,
Yeah,
and find what we always say, you need a phrase that pays. Just like Nike has just do it. What is your phrase that pays?
I love
I
it.
mean, they're not talking
Phrase
about the
that
shoe,
pays.
the phrase that pays.
So
So
cool.
yeah, so we've created this. She's really a character, Melody, the hit message
Yeah.
maker. Think of her as a hit songwriter, but for business messaging. And instead of doing all these other things, you can really land the plane on what is your message for your
Mm,
program, for your
mm.
product, for your offer, and all that.
I love that, Tonya. That's great. That because that's so important. So many people you say, "What do you do?" And it's just hard for people to articulate it or have clarity on what they do. And they might tell you, and at the end of it, you go, "I've got no idea what they do." And that is like, it's how many times has that happened? I mean, I'm sure I've probably been like that myself in the past, especially when I,
Totally.
came out of the restaurants and started my whole new
Yeah.
online business. I was trying to figure it all out and, getting clarity on my messaging and who my target market was and what I wanted to do. So I think that that's really, really clever if you can do that. The phrase, what was it? The phrase that pays?
The
Was it
phrase that pays.
the phrase that pays? Yeah.
Every one of our businesses has a phrase that pays.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
It makes it
what
simple. It simplifies everything.
it
So in the
simplifies
chaos,
everything.
it brings it down and simplifies everything.
It
And I
does.
guess that's the thing they talk about in business and messaging is that if you can just speak to somebody almost like they're a 2-year-old, so they get exactly
Yes.
what you offer and what you're selling and who you are, then you'll be able to. They're the ones that actually are able to convert faster because it's very, very clear.
Yes, and anybody can master their message. Anybody. It's just, refining and fine tuning, no pun intended, but really you're just extracting in a whole. Have you ever seen those, what is it, the arcades that have the big crane? I don't know if you have theirs, and there's
Yeah,
a bunch
my
of
son
stuff.
has spent a fortune in those things.
Those, yeah, you're putting a quarter in or how much ever it is now.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
there's all these teddy bears in there, and one crane
Yes.
is gonna go down, grab it, and get that one, and that's the winner. I think
Mm,
that's exactly how your messaging is. It's like all these teddy bears in this arcade, and we help you just extract your message. And then once you get that, your marketing, it's not what
yeah,
you sell, it's how you say it
it's how
that
you say
people will
it.
resonate. So,
Mm,
and there's, like you said, Angela, there's frustration to your destination, but that's part of it. That the frustration to your destination is part of the process. And most people stop and it's like, oh man, that crane was right there. You were getting the winning teddy. So yeah,
yeah,
that's
love it.
what we do.
Frustration to your destination. You are so clever with words, and you can see how this cuts through, and people remember it. They
Yeah.
remember these because these are clever words that rhyme, that have a rhythm, that are easy
Yeah.
to remember, that make sense.
Yes.
And it's easy. Like I'm, yeah, really learning a lot here from you. I'm sure that our audience is as well, because I think if you can get and come up with something like that, a clever little hit message, a saying
Yeah.
that gives you clarity exactly what you do, and then you put
Yes.
that everywhere, and you keep saying the same message all the time,
Hmm.
people get
That's
it.
exactly.
That's what you're known for. That's
Yeah.
what you do.
Because people remember quotes, and
They do.
it doesn't have to be clever. It has to be clear.
It has to be clear.
There's,
Yeah.
and it can be clever and clear. That's when it really
Mm,
hits, especially
mm.
if you see a keynote speaker and you're writing the things down. It's those one-liners. It's those
One
quotes.
liners.
It's
Yeah.
those things that are so sharp
Yes. They're
that
so
that
sharp.
take
Yeah.
like 5 words. Those, in fact, most business messaging, it's about 7 words max that you
Yeah.
don't want to go past. So that's what I help people do. It's really already in everybody, but we
Yeah.
just
Well, I think
extract it.
you've got a great skill. It's a skill set. I think that it is. And I think it's obviously, it started way back when you were obviously songwriting and,
Yeah.
very clever with your words to where you are today. So again, you can see how somebody's, their past and everything they've done can actually filter into where they are now. And it's like you look back, you start to join the dots. Oh, okay. So all of that was part of my journey to lead me to where I am now. And that's what
Totally.
it's a full circle moment for you where it all comes together to be able to
Yeah.
use your songwriting in this messaging for your business. Love that.
It's so true. I mean, nothing goes I always say, God, He'll use everything. Nothing goes wasted. And like you said, it's
Nothing
like
is a
those
failure. No, it's
connect the
awesome.
dots, and
Yeah.
then the picture shows up. I feel like that's where people stop on certain dots. And it's like,
Yes.
man, the picture was almost done.
Yes. Yes. And I think the other thing was, and I've been listening to this a bit lately on a podcast, is that there's no such thing as failure. And I think some people, they can be in business and they can be doing what they're doing, and then they either it doesn't work or the business can go under, and they look at that as a failure instead of looking at that as lessons that you've learned from that you can bring into what you're doing now. I think that's so important because they're not failures. They're what you needed to learn at the time. You take what you've got there and you bring it in. Don't ever look at anything that you've done in the past as, a negative. Use it.
Use
You've,
it.
you've created these skills. You've got all these things going on. Use them. You've done your hard yards, and use that and bring that forward, because you'll be so surprised when you
Oh,
reframe it and you bring that in. You'll be so surprised how much you can use that in your business now and create a
so true.
whole new career around it.
So true. We always say, Kevin and I always say, failure actually is feedback. It's
Of course it is.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Failure is feedback. It's what we
Yeah.
need.
We
It's beautiful. It's actually, I always use the word brutal. That's what I use in my healing journey through cancer. It's brutal and it's beautiful. It's all melted together. And feedback, failure feels, we feel it, of course,
mm,
but if
mm,
we can use it to sharpen the next thing, we have to get to all those negative
mm.
no's before we can get to, I know that's right.
Yeah. Brilliant. Oh, it's been so great to have you on here today, Tonya. We've just learnt so much, and I see just the power of words. I see how just by, taking the time to think cleverly around these words and get them to be remembered in a way and bring those into your brand or your business with what you
Yeah.
do, it can just change everything. So, yeah, like I've just really learned a lot from everything you've said today, Tonya. So, thank you very much for that. You're a very clever, powerful lady, entrepreneur, and you're doing incredible things out there in the world and impacting so many lives. And it's been great to have you on our show today. And before you go, just talk to me one more question. What are you doing in your life to bring harmony into your hustle? What one thing do you do?
Goodness, that's a great question that I wasn't prepared for. I wasn't prepared for any of these. So, how do I bring harmony in my hustle? Honestly, every morning I start my morning in prayer, and Kevin and I together as a couple do something called Prayed Up. It's PRAYED, and it stands for praise, repent, ask, yield, envision, and declare. It's an acronym that we
Acronym.
created,
Beautiful.
and we do it together out loud. We envision our future, that of things we haven't seen, and we just pray together. That is how, sometimes it's 10 minutes because we're both hustling and
Yep.
getting into our day. And sometimes when we have more time to invest together, we do that for an hour. And it's so beautiful. I mean, we pray for our
Yeah.
kids and their future and all those things. But
Mm.
that's the one thing, if I start my day not in the hustle, but in prayer and
Mm.
envisioning and expectant, I'm always like, who can I bless today, Lord? Like,
Mm.
order my steps. And
Mm.
He does. And that's how I create harmony in my day. Yeah.
Beautiful. Love that. Yep. And I can see how that would do that. Just that time in the morning to create that harmony and then start the day. And that is the thing. It will set you up for the day. It's absolutely
Ooh.
perfect. And then you will attract all of the things that bring harmony rather than starting in the chaos, which a lot of us have lived our
Yeah.
lives in the chaos where we start the day.
Yes.
Bring it back to creating that harmony and that harmony in the
Yeah.
hustle. So that's beautiful. It's a lovely way to end the episode today and the show. And then thank you again, Tonya. And I hope your
Angela.
listeners all got a lot out of that today. I know I did. I know many of you would as well. And where can we find you, Tonya? I'm going to put everything in the show notes too. But if any of our audiences wanted to get in contact with you, and maybe you could help them with some clarity on their messaging and that type of thing and the hit message, where would they be able to find you?
Well, you can find Kevin and I on our podcast, which this girl right here, Angela, is going to be on one of our, I don't know when this will be aired, but check her out. She's coming over on our side as well. But
Yep,
it's
sure am.
called the Conquer Club with Kevin and Tonya. That is our YouTube channel. And we have a lot of people, awesome, just golden nuggets like Angela left for us in our interview. That's where you can find us there. And we're on all the social media channels. You can find that at our YouTube. And then if you want to know how to create your own hit message, conquerpreneur.com/cashflow. I would say cashflow what you know, baby.
Love it.
Conquerpreneur.com/cashflow is where all of our master classes are in understanding and learning and crafting your own hit message. So thank you for
I love
having
that.
me. We are just, I'm so grateful. You know, when you invest in yourself like this, Angela, you meet people like you.
Yeah.
And that's where it's so beautiful. I mean, we're
Yeah.
across the world.
On the other side of the world, yeah. And we've met and we
Yeah,
are so aligned and so similar. And that's the thing, when you do invest in yourself and you are with, I guess, top tier people that have these common interests, that are like-minded, that are wanting to, serve people and do great things in the world, then you'll meet them. That's where you
that's
meet
so
them.
true. You meet them. There's where the harmony,
Yeah,
it creates a beautiful song.
it does. Yes. And only you can do that beautifully. So thank you so much today, Tonya.
Thank you
It's
so
been
much, Angela.
awesome. And and I will have everything in the show notes where you can connect with Tonya. But thank you for being such a great guest. And we look forward to seeing you next episode in Harmony in the Hustle. Bye for now.
Thanks.
Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Harmony in the Hustle. I hope today's episode filled you with inspiration, gave you some tips you can turn into action, and helped you find a little more harmony in your life. If you've enjoyed this episode, please share it with a friend who could use a bit more harmony in their hustle too. And if you haven't yet, make sure you subscribe so you can stay updated with all the upcoming episodes. I truly appreciate you taking the time out of your day to listen. And until next time, stay in the harmony and remember, you've got this. See you next time.